trust in God is the continuous giving put on love, and you will conquer heaven. You must sacrifice what is more than you need, and your pleasure is to make room for the miracle to come. That goal is all you want: long life, health, good fortune, joys, and happiness, and without His presence, you have nothing. You are happy only with Him. Otherwise, you are alone and among men. But we only take and give nothing in return, and so we lose the divine. We fill ourselves with self-righteousness, pretense, and impudence, reproach and hatred. When you take offense, you are defending a pleasure from being taken from you, a convenience, an advantage, a joy of the senses. When you sacrifice pleasures, you get a lot of subtle energy that would otherwise be wasted on savoring the senses. Please get rid of addictions. They will make you suffer. That is to say, you stop wasting life and future through impoverishment and restraint, and thus, the heavens open, and more vital energy comes to you. But usually, we fill ourselves with the ego because money, wealth, and comforts our ego, so they will pull us down when we cross over. Everything we value more takes us out of life, not give us life. And what do you do with your money? You're always looking at it, lest they steal it, lest you lose it. But when you give of it, your salvation begins. Then the thieves no longer come to you, for they have nothing to steal, and your whole life is beautifully laid out. You give me, and you take God, you make room in you, and the miracle comes, from which everything you want is made: health, joy, happiness, a long life. And that's worth all the sacrifice in the world. When you give energy, you get more. If you give continuously, that's your salvation. You lose subtle energy when you attack, but when you love, you get charged with it. Our problem is that we keep too much for ourselves, and we don't give it away. We should only get as much as we need. What is more, it doesn't belong to us, and we must pass it on. Otherwise, it becomes trouble and suffering. That is our salvation, giving. Because it frees you from attachments, suffering, and dependencies. God sees that you are not attached and clinging to anything, and then you deserve it all. You are empty of yourself, and He has room to come into your heart. If you give, you empty yourself of self, and you are no longer afraid that it will be taken away from you, that you have nothing to defend. This is trust in God, continuous giving. But who has true faith, that is to say, continuous giving? If we do not give and love unconditionally, our faith is weak. Having no love, we have nothing to rely on. Love is trust in God. Having love and giving means you have trust in the Lord, faith. Then there's nothing for thieves to look for in you. No more thieves come, no more annoyances come, and no more sicknesses, that they have nothing to fall. It's precisely self-giving that is disidentification. Selfless self-giving is your salvation as a man and as a civilization. Selfless giving. But do you see that one gives what one has more? People hold back everything they have and make deposits, so they don't want to live. They want suffering, sickness, and trouble. Without emptying yourself of self and of personal interests, the Lord is not with you, and you cannot be happy, because you cannot do anything on your own. All that you receive is from Him, depending on your level of self-abandonment, of self-surrender. When you give attention, effort, and care, you give yourself, you give you good, and in this way, you purify yourself, and you heal yourself. When you give more of your good, you receive divinity. We get sick because we take more than we give, and so we oppose the love by which our body is built. We are in the movement of principle, the greed of life. But our greatest sin is our self-reference to self-interest for the better. When we want more good for the self, then we err. For it, we can kill, fight, and defend ourselves. When you gather only for yourself, You become the devil and want to kill the one who takes what you have. We fight in vain for an illusory self that doesn't even exist. The Lord is continually watching to see if we are trapped and addicted, and He comes and breaks us to give us life. And we say His help is bad and don't want it. This theme, if understood, solves everything. If accepted, you will succeed in life a lot. Because thieves, wicked men, trouble, and sickness will have no more to seek in you. God has seen that you are not caught on what you haven't, has no reason to send thieves to you. When you have the dedication, you are saved and get everything you want. Because what you give, you get. And no one can hurt you. God's presence makes everything wonderful. You succeed in everything. You're happy. That's what happiness is. You're self-giving, sacrifice, and self-denial. It's what we don't like to do, and we need to do it because it saves our lives. And suffering is when you hold on to what you haven't, fear it will be stolen. Attachment is suffering. And if you get caught attached, you will automatically be robbed to detach. It's out of the question to wean you from what you have. What you possess most are the parasites, the viruses that will make you suffer continually. Wealth and pleasures bring you continual pain that comes from the fear of loss. Do you want more pleasure? You will have greater demands, which is hubris. You will also have fear or suffering, trouble, and disease. So wealth kills very effectively. Pleasure more than you need is pain, because it takes away your life energy. And you always have to fight to keep it and not lose it. This fear of being taken away is an ordeal. It's hell. Real. But do we all want it? When you want more sense of gratification, you want to die faster, and you choose hell. An Indian sage was asked, he was 116 years old, what the secret of a long life is, and he said, the key to a long life is bad food. That is, little, raw, as close to nature as possible, not stimulating to the senses, and no desire for more. But giving more of what you have is your salvation. It's health and future. It's giving yourself life. When you give life to yourself. You live more. When you give energy, you get more, and you live. Man complains that he is unlucky. Why don't you give more? Why don't you get more of what you give? You trust God, and He will save you in everything. The important thing is not to want more and to give what you can spare, giving yourself health, joy, happiness, and a long life. When you leave yourself and trust Him, you are helping with everything and succeed. He knows that you don't put your soul and mind on what you haven't, that you give more. And when you are not attached to them, they will not be taken from you because they do you no harm and will remain. They only hurt you if you're attached. That causes you more suffering, and therefore, it will be taken away. God is your state of attachment, of separation. Continuous attachment is your salvation, so you increase your future, and no more unpleasantness comes to you. Do you understand? And you gain life. When something terrible happens, you still have inner comments and dissatisfactions with people. And you're attacked in precisely that place. He who is attached to pleasures is capable of evil. You can expect anything from him. Only the detached one is honest, and you can rely on him. What does it mean to love? Man thinks of physical love, but divine love is the opposite. To love is to leave the world alone, to detach oneself from it, not to go to the human, to be delegitimized. At the same time, it is to live beautifully. If you're detached from the world, you've found true life in yourself. You have found true love. Genuine interest is to live selflessly. When you have this disinterested joy, you live to the fullest, and your thoughts are no longer how to do, bank, fix, or get another apartment or a car. These things come as a gift and don't attack you. But if they are essential to you, they will attack you. The man collects thoughts, stories, and questions in his mind what will he do, and how will he solve what he has set out to do? Well, can you solve these things when you don't trust God? If you have only your will, life will resist you, and you will accomplish nothing. When you bring your will into the game, the adversary has also appeared who will bring you down. When you trust in him, you no longer fear. When you let yourself, you have all the power and confidence. Faith means surrendering yourself to him, a tremendous power. And everything will work itself out without you. All his love is for us. But we don't take it to give it away. My God, you are in all things. Be with me, for without you, I have no power. When you give your strength, you are without care. You give your worries to him. Then your fears have fallen. And you are saved. Your love, this is what it means, that you are uninterested in hogging the world, in seeking as much as you can, and you have no greed for life. But when a man wants to gain, he forgets to live. He lived, but he no longer lives. He lives in routine, in complexes, in hardships, in thoughts. And man does not live true freedom, which means not me. Good deeds are disregarded. Words of kindness are not followed. The ideal plan need not be debated. A good lock does not use screws and, therefore, cannot be opened. A good knot needs no rope and so cannot be opened. Thus, a wise man is always good, helping all and rejecting none. He is always kind, helping those who need support and resists nothing. This is true self-liberation through behavior. A good man is the teacher of the afflicted. But an unfaithful person is a lesson to be learned. He who does not appreciate the value of the divine teacher and rejects his valuable lessons, though seemingly intelligent, is, in fact, in great ignorance and confusion. Recognizing the sublime being within us and seeing it everywhere is the fundamental essence of life. Liberation is of the self. When you trust him, you can be sure you will receive all you need. The moment you believe in your own will and seek only your good, the adversary immediately sets out to show you that you can do nothing without the Lord. The enemy comes from above and is sent from the Lord. You cannot resist him because he will destroy you. Why does he send him? Because you have made yourself your God, that is, a devil. Resistance to him who does you evil is resistance to the divine. And you will not be able to resist. The evil comes only to bring you down and help you, to give you life and purify you. It's absurd to resist it. Understand. Why understand? Because the basis of the world is love, that is to say, perfect self-surrender. Why did he put us on earth? To show our love, to prove it. How do you prove it? I give the birds and the flowers water and rain in due season and all the more to you. And what do? You make your fears, lock yourself up in them, hoard as much as you can in the bank so that you may have on hard days, and think this is happiness. Until you are empty of yourself, God will not be with you, and you will suffer. That is the ordeal. Man seeks the pleasures of the body and is always angry that he doesn't have enough. But the pleasures of the senses are parts and will never be enough. So, he who seeks the pleasures of the world reaps fruitlessness. He goes to perdition. That's all you need. Trust in God and not be interested in having more, or you will suffer. Otherwise, you're looking for something you'll never find. Put your trust in his hands. Then you're saved. You've lost your fear. And what is faith in him? You to let yourself. It means taking your mind off of gathering and realizing that he knows what you need and will give it to you to the degree that you let go of yourself and give him the power. And then it will give you everything you need without you even trying. And what can I not give to you, O sprouts of me? And what does he say? You can have it all if you trust in me, because that is why we come, to love and give unconditionally and infinitely, not to gather. To be like him. We do not come to live some absurd complexes and fears, vain, foolish quests or constraints. We come to be loved without limits, to be loved without end, and that's all. When you are loved, it means that you have complete trust in Him and no harm can come to you because you have surrendered yourself and you no longer matter, and you do only the will of others, which is His will. You no longer exist then, but only He is through you. Thus, you experience boundless happiness as your nature. When you have this absolute trust, God is with you and gives you exactly what you need. He gives to you with great love. And what is faith? It is to love unlimitedly and surrender yourself to His hands. Your faith is perfect submission to men. Do you have that courage? So great is your love and your faith. If you have love no matter what, you have no fear, and men can do you no harm. We know that we don't love enough, so we are afraid of getting hurt by people. We don't trust them because we don't trust God. They only hit you with the weapons in you. They beat you with your wickedness. If you love, so will your life be, a beauty. Faith is all the more remarkable, the greater love. Then you no longer have fears and constraints, conditionings and malice, and you no longer fear that you will be plundered. You fear because you don't love enough and give too little. And you know what you're doing. When your trust is so great in Him, love will energize and heal life situations. So, without love, everything gets spoiled. Trusting in Him means you stop looking for solutions, give Him your strength and your worries, and forget them. And what does that mean? Give Him the power? Not even to stop thinking or to stop making goals, plans, and scenarios of any kind. Let love be your work. To do everything out of joy, let your life be a celebration. Then, you are free from fears and constraints. To celebrate it, sing, dance in front of people, and have the courage to show your joy. The more you give, the greater your confidence and joy, and the more you have nothing to lose. And when you put all your trust in Him, you are saved. But trust is your love and your giving. The man who does not love, give, obey, or lay himself down for others has no faith. How many people do you see submitting and obeying without reaction and resistance? So many have faith and unconditional love, no matter what. You know your faith is weak when you don't give and love. Give and love more, and so faith in Him grows. You give more of yourself, and love increases. When you have love, you fear nothing. Love and do what you will. Any comment about the world is meaningless. All the world's problems are about having more, but that is not your concern. Anything you relate to the self is defeat and will bring trouble. Because the sides are contradictory. You're not the one who's doing the math. Thou hast no need to judge. Thou hast no need to reproach, for thou dost exalt thyself and bring down the other, and so thou makest thyself thy God, a devil. Our only need is to love no matter what. Do not interfere. There is no need for your opinion unless you are asked. Otherwise, it's self-aggrandizement, that is hubris.